We're at the final step of this, which is putting it all together. And I haven't given you too much code. I've made you kind of program most of the code. And that's going to be, this is going to be a continuation of that. I'll kind of explain what the thought process will be in putting it all together. And then you should try to do it. And if you have questions, come talk to me. So get started early, right? Like today being the day that we teach this class, which is today actually, because I'm doing the last video on the day we teach this class. Hashtag summer. All right, so we have, now let's say you created your user paddle correctly and you created your computer paddle correctly, okay? And you can set the current ball Y position. I know it's a little hacky, but we really shouldn't be. We have to have the current ball Y position at some point in computer paddle, so that we can do some sort of intelligent thing of going after the ball. All right, and then we have our class ball. Okay, and so we're gonna have each one of these things, right? We will have a ball, my ball, or game ball. I don't know what you want to call it. We're gonna have a computer paddle, and I know we should my paddle. No, not my paddle. CPU paddle, something like that. We can name it that. And we have a user paddle, player paddle. I'm sorry, we named these. I named these things rotten. We can have a size, and what would be a good size for Pong? Some sort of squarish thing. I don't know, like 960 by 480. Yeah, sure, why not? Some sort of HD size. And then we can initialize our game ball, computer paddle, and user paddle, okay, by invoking the constructor, which uses the new keyword, right? You might think that, okay, the CPU paddle I want on the left side of the screen. What does that mean about what I pass into the constructor, right? The paddle constructor that you've created. All right. The player paddle I want on the right side of the screen, maybe. I'm just making it. You could do either way. And so that means you come up with another one of these. Okay. And you also want the ball to start randomly, right? So you want it to start in the middle and kind of be going in a random direction, but you don't want the X or Y velocity to be 0, because if it is, it won't work, okay? So you want to make sure that's not the case. So maybe have a check in there in your constructor for ball to make sure neither the X velocity or the Y velocity is 0, okay? And finally, I guess if it's 1, 1, 2, it gets weird. But you can also check for that if you want to. And -1, -1. Is that right? Will it get weird? No, it won't get weird because it's not a square. You'll be okay. It'll all work out. Okay. So invoking the constructor for all of these things. Okay. And now every time through draw, you should invoke the draw on ball or update on ball, right? On ball, and then update position for computer paddle, update position for computer paddle, right? And update position for user paddle, right? And then, kind of interesting, you've probably, so if you update the ball, let's take out the computer paddle here, because update position on ball, update position on user paddle, which is based on mouse X, and then update computer paddle ball position. Okay, and then finally update position on ball. Something like this. Okay, it might not be exact, but if you're doing this and you have questions, you should come ask me. Okay, anything else? And then the final thing is, in ball, we have to redefine velocity such that the velocity gets updated when it hits the paddle. And we haven't talked about that yet, so I was going to spend a few seconds here talking about it. The reasoning is basically the same reasoning we've done a million times before, okay? So I know the paddle position, okay? Actually, I know the top left corner of the paddle, right? And I know the width, so I can get this edge of the paddle, okay, where this edge is, okay? And I can also get this and this of the paddle, okay? And my ball is going to look like this, right? When I hit the paddle. In fact, it's going to intersect the paddle, okay? And the question we're going to ask is, what's true when the ball intersects the paddle? Okay, what's true when this occurs? Okay, and you might think to yourself, well, it looks like it has something to do with it being something relative to the top edge and something relative to the bottom edge, and then yeah, something relative to the top edge, relative to the bottom edge, right? And then also relative to the front side edge, okay? And that's for the computer paddle. In fact, the computer paddle we don't have to worry about because it'll always hit it, because the computer paddle is clamped to the ball. So let's think about the user paddle. I guess you could put them on either side. I was just assuming the computer paddle would be on the, but it's the same thing, right? It's this kind of situation. So you only really have to do this for the user paddle, because the computer paddle right now, the way it's written, will always collide with it, okay? And the user paddle, well, if it collides here, it's above that and below that, right? And it's not past this. Maybe we should do that, because what'll end up happening is the ball will come over here, and then you can still collide it and it comes back. If it gets past this, we should drop the ball in the middle and start the game over again, okay? Or just give the ball another random velocity and then put it in the center again, and let's see what it does. Okay, so that's basically it. I want you to think about this. It shouldn't be that insane, but you should think about it, because it's a good review of what we did the first 5 weeks. And yeah, and then the ball should be bouncing back and forth, and the computer paddle should be moving automatically, and your paddle should be moving with the mouse. A lot of new stuff, but nothing too complicated this week. We will have time to look at this. So I want you to work on this, and then we'll have time to look at this next class and talk about how you might have done it. And you can ask questions, but you better come with questions, or else we're just gonna keep on moving on, and then I'm gonna do these one-on-one meetings with you, and they'll be awkward turtle. Awkward, does anyone use awkward turtle? Awkward turtle, okay, forget it. I will see you next. Oh, I'll also put up a video of my working Pong game. I'll finish it up here real quickly and put it up so you have something to guide you along your way. Cool.